How's it going, everybody? My name is Mitchell, and we are sitting in my 1977 Lotus Esprit that I found in a barn a little while ago. So this is going to be my second video on the car. If you haven't seen the first one, make sure you go check that out before you watch this one. But today what we're going to be doing is just getting the car on the road. I need to get a baseline so I know what needs done and what I need to order before I start making these really big parts orders for the car. It desperately needs paint, but I want to make sure everything else is right before we do that. What I need to do to begin with is check a lot of the electrics in this car. The whole dash isn't really working very well. The headlights don't work, the brake lights don't work, the turn signals don't work. Pretty much everything light related does not work on this. But that's okay because the wiring is just absurdly simple in this. I think there's maybe like 7 or 8 fuses in here, like 3 relays that I found, and then the rest of the wires are just really thick, well color coded wires that are simply run throughout the car, easy to trace, so I don't think I'll have a problem with that. The next thing we'll be doing is just going through the basics. I need to check the oil, coolant, we'll probably put spark plugs in it, and then I need to check the linkage. I can't get into first or reverse at all, so at least I'm hoping it's the linkage because I really don't want to deal with any transmission issues right now. But hang tight, we're going to run through all those things and then we'll get it on the road in a little bit and we'll see what we get. Alright, if you were ever looking to buy one of these, I'm going to give you some quick motivation not to really quick. So I'm trying to replace the brake light switch. And it is right... Let's see if we can get to it. There. And let me show you the position you have to get in to be able to replace this. Here goes nothing. Oh, I've got a cramp. That was an absolute nightmare to get out. This is a $3 switch, I guess, after looking it up online. I was really hoping this was going to be the issue. But if we take a look at this multimeter, I'm going to stick these in each side of the switch. If I could get that to stay, and watch when I hit the switch. It's working. So my issue lies elsewhere. I'm not sure where else it would be. This is a really simplistic system. I can't even find a fuse or a relay for them. I think it's literally just wired directly to this. So I guess I'm going to trace the wires all the way back. Maybe I'll complete the connection to make the wire hot and then kind of probe around and see where I can find power back there or if I can find power. So fun. We have brakes. God, that was a nightmare. Good thing is, this is really simplistic to take apart. You just have a couple screws holding each one of these panels on. You see the corners right there. And then this just pops right out. It's put right into this just very thin, easy to push in and out area here. And then down in here, it just gets clamped on with these. Super simple design. These just push up against here and then you bolt the like brake light to it. But I'm not sure what the issue was. I just kept running continuity tests and then checking the brake light switch, and then I hardwired the switch together so it was always putting out power. And then when I did that and started messing around with these grounds back here, it popped on. So not sure what the issue was, but I fixed it. So I'm not going to ask any more questions. Alright, we've got the bonnet off. We're going to try to diagnose the headlight issues. The reason that had to come off is with the S1s, if the headlights pop up when that bonnet's there, it'll actually run into it. So there's like a little micro switch right here that will only open when that is depressed. But down here is our motor. These early cars only had one motor for both sides, and they're connected together with this rod up under here. Kind of wish I had a two-motor car. The one-motor cars were kind of discontinued because when you tried to close these at speed, the motor wasn't strong enough to pull them down against the wind resistance, and it would strip the gears in the motor, from my understanding. So this is a pretty hard thing to find. I'm assuming my issue lies down with some of these old, almost handmade looking electrics, but that's actually okay because it makes it a little easier for me to diagnose, not being an expert in this kind of stuff or anything. One thing that I'm noticing though is that the fiberglass on this car is extremely thin. I mean, you just press anywhere and it kind of buckles a little bit, but up on the hood we have some stress cracks and this kind of wobbles a little bit, so I'm going to have to do some fiberglass repair on that. This side checks out. I might just reinforce it just in case, because kind of looks like that might be a common failure point, given that there's a tiny crack there and this one's almost fully separated. That's unfortunate. One thing I have gathered about these cars is that owners are extremely helpful. I mean, there's only a handful of them out there given how rare these cars are, but with the couple interactions I've had already, people have been helping me out like crazy. So what I think I'm going to be doing is just to test the fact that the motor works. There's two micro switches on it, and then like a cam lobe to kind of, I'm assuming, tell its position. And then over here, there's a black and a yellow wire running to the motor. Those are the power wires. So apparently if I hook that up to a 12 volt, then the motor will just continuously turn. So we're going to do that to check and see if this is an issue with the motor or the wiring leading up to the motor, which will tell me a lot. All right, I think it's safe to say I figured this out. I'm going to do a little test here and see if we go around in a circle. So that works. That's all that motor does. What I found out was happening is, this is great Lotus engineering here. On the headlight motors themselves and in this front pod area, you'll notice a lot of these bolts are ground down really far just to make clearance. I think it makes sense just to make this arm a little bit further protruding, but I guess that's not my call. But this bolt was coming in contact with all three of these mounting bolts around the edges as it was going around, binding, and then that's why it was shutting off. So I just took a bar and did a small bend right there to get it to clear, and now I just have to figure out how to line everything back up. I took a bunch of pictures, so as long as it was in the right spot to begin with before I took it off, it should go back together and hopefully get some functional headlights out of it. We are on day 2 of working on this thing now, and we're starting to make some good progress. I have pretty much everything electrical figured out. The only thing that's not working is one bulb, and that's just because the bulb is bad. This was a rat's nest. When I pulled that out, the wiring literally went from here to here, and it was just a ball. I think that was half the reason why the headlight motor wasn't working. I don't have my owner's manual yet, or my workshop manual, so it was hard to trace down some of the wiring, but doing a little bit of back and forth and just some like going upstream of the wire and coming back down, figuring out where they went, I found out that 2 of the relays were wired wrong. It is working. That's pretty weak because the battery's low right now, so I think I might have to help it up a little bit, but yeah, there we go. But they're working. Just got to get that battery charged and we'll get them back down. Now that we have functioning headlight pods, the next thing we'll have to look at are these bulbs. These are LED assemblies, and this is a 1977 car, so they have no right to be on there. We're going to pull those out, and I have 4 new assemblies we're going to put in there and give it the proper look. We are now up underneath the car. I wanted to show you a couple odd things here. So the first one would be that the muffler doesn't have like a hanger or anything. It is literally just bolted to the back of the transmission with some hose clamp looking things, but that's from the factory, so we're just going to clean up that and reuse it. Under here, you'll see traditional shift linkage here, but then for the front to back part of the linkage, there's a straight up bar, and it's pinched in, kind of has some linkage going up front, but I've never seen such a thick rod used for linkage on gear shifters. Join me sitting here in the engine compartment of the Esprit. Typically for us Esprit owners, this is where you'll be found if you want to do any work on your engine. But while I was under there showing you the linkage that you can see from right here, I noticed an unfortunate puddle on the ground that looked to be oil. Now I know the valve covers are leaking a little back here, but if I reach my hand up under this portion, we also get a little bit of oil. So what I think is happening is it is leaking out of the front of the valve cover as well as the rear. Let me get the camera positioned properly. I think it's dripping down onto this bar right here. And then there we go. We can see a lot down there on the chassis. It's dripping from that bar down to there and then onto the ground. So this valve cover gasket is not proper. This is not the right option for this car. Apparently there's cork and then a different material, but these get over tightened a lot and you can see it's squished out right here. So I ordered a new one just in case. We're going to swap that and torque it to the proper specs, and that should alleviate all the leaks. While up here though, you can see we have the Stromberg carburetors on the car. There is a lot of pointless lines on this, and these are pretty restrictive. So when I first got the car, I found a box in the trunk that had these in it. So these are the Euro carbs, and I think the goal will be to get these on the car eventually. They're pretty complete, although they're pretty nasty on the outside. I just need the choke arm that goes from here to here, the new throttle cable. But back under these, if I can get it off without breaking anything, they're pretty clean. So I think these are going to be usable. I ordered a rebuild kit and then those couple other extra parts we need. But this should open up the car's breathing a lot. This is the air filters that come with the Strombergs. You can see that opening is very, very small. And that's for both carbs. And you put it up next to these, you get double the airflow. So these are the ultimate answer. I just don't know how soon I'll be putting these on. Ever since I made the first video and posted some pictures of this on the forums I'm on, I had a lot of people contact me with specific information about this car. People have been really helpful so far, but it was cool to get some actual pictures of this thing. Apparently it was owned by a guy in Oregon before it was sold to the guy that I bought it from. The guy that lived in Oregon apparently pulled the body off of the chassis and redid pretty much everything there was mechanical to do. And then he got the body back on and he died. So that's unfortunate, but he was planning on doing the rest, interior and paint. He just never got to it. So we're going to complete the last step of that process for him. We're going to get this car on the road. We're going to get it painted. We're going to get it not to showroom condition, but to really good condition. That'll be kind of cool to pay homage to him. All right, now that we have taillights, brake lights, headlights, all the stuff that needs to be legal to drive the car, we're going to get it on the road and see what else is wrong with it. Hopefully not a whole lot. Judging by the state of everything, I think we're going to be safe and everything else will just be cosmetic, but I guess we'll just have to test it out. All right, let's see what we get. Well, we get a windshield wiper that's on, and it needs to go off. Come on. Okay, let's see what we get. Gotta make sure all my mirrors are right since it's the first time in this. Oh my god, it's a little jerky. Everybody's walking their dogs today because it's nice out, so I gotta watch out. Alright, so I can't really judge yet because the choke is still on and it's cold outside. So I'm gonna get this warmed up a little bit and we'll see what it drives like. But first impressions, the steering is remarkably tight. The clutch could probably use a little bit of work. I think I might need a new slave. Good thing that's a $50 universal part. Alright, we go into second. Get the choke down. Let's pray for third. Okay, we're in third. And let's go to fourth. And we don't have enough speed for fifth, so we'll have to wait for that. I'm going to get the choke a little bit back on. Yeah, it seems to be tight. The oil pressure looks like it's working. Battery voltage working. Fuel gauge is working. A little rattly, but that's fine. Alright, needed a little bit of gas to stay running at the stop. Air-fuel ratio looks okay. Alright, let's get going. We can actually gain a little bit of speed on this road. I think I'm about to have to take my shoes off at this next stop. I cannot reach the pedals. Alright, let's see if I can do that while driving. Okay. I can actually press the gas without pressing the brakes now. Fourth gear. And fifth gear. No grinding. Okay. Transmission's good. My linkage adjustment worked. I can notice that this thing is a little bit bumpier than I expected, even with those big sidewall tires. I think that's just kind of the nature of the beast. But yeah, the steering feels amazing. All the gears go. I haven't really given it full throttle yet, but we'll save that for another day. I just wanted to make sure everything drove. Kind of bogs down a little bit at stop, and I did notice third's not the easiest gear to get into, but I don't know if it's fully warm yet, so we'll keep warming it up and we'll see where that goes. I didn't pick the best time to come out here and test drive. It's a really nice day for midwinter, and everybody's just getting off work, so I'm just kind of staying around my block. Oh yeah, it sounds amazing. I still think I'm going to take that cat off, but that's going to make for a pretty loud car without that thing on there. Gauges, check out. The only thing I can think of is maybe a little bit of a linkage adjustment, and I guess the brakes probably just need a little bit of bedding after sitting for a while, and I think the tires might be slightly flat spotted, but I'm going to put some miles on it, maybe 10 or 20, see if any of those things get a little bit better. But the next thing we're going to be doing is stripping it for paint. I got some good news. A friend of a friend that does fiberglass work said that he's able to get it in about 4 weeks. So I just made a huge order from SJ, getting pretty much everything I'll need after that. And I think the next round will be kind of taking everything apart, sanding it down, getting it ready for paint. So I'll catch you later.